If you train with light weights and high reps, you're literally setting yourself up for nagging injuries and weak joints. Literally, you're destroying your tendons. The science is very, very clear on this, actual crystal clear. If you want to be injury resistant, powerful, and pain-free, you need stiff tendons. And so today, I'm going to show you exactly how you do that. What on earth is even tendon stiffness? So I want you to think of your tendons like a resistant band like this, okay? A loose, stretchy band absorbs too much force, leading to instability and injury. A stiff band, however, transfers force efficiently, making you a lot stronger and a lot more resilient. So if you think of this band here, very stretchy, this is a very weak tendon stiffness. There's no stiffness there. You can see how stretchy that is. Whereas this one, for example, much harder to pull. So this is how you want your tendons to be, very nice and stiff and strong. So it allows you to be able to create more force and less risk of injury. So you don't want none of these floppy tendons, because this is the problem in terms of long-term risk injury. Study after study proves this fact. And I'll break it down for you. So one study showed that stronger people have stiffer tendons and can actually tolerate more load without injury. Another study showed that heavy loads actually preserve tendon properties, even as we are aging. Incredible. Another study shows that isometric training made tendons 4 times stiffer than regular reps. And another study showed that rehab now actually includes heavy loading because it's the only way to rebuild tendon stiffness. I will put all of these studies below so you can actually go and read them for yourselves. And so I massively recommend training with heavy loads to have more tendon stiffness, not light loads. For example, I'm about to train here. There's 2 things you can do to actually get your tendons to be pretty strong. You work within 85% of your 1 rep max. So heavy weight, any reps between 4 and 8 for me is where we want to be. Making sure that those last 3-4 reps are very challenging, maybe leaving 1 rep in reserve. Or you can hold an isometric. For example, here I can take the weight all the way to the top and all that isometric. That's also very good to create tendon stiffness. Most of the time, I've been injured, 2 injuries, pretty bad injuries. One of them was football. Load of sprinting work, stop, start, stop, start. It happens very, very common in sports people. That wasn't a tendon, that was a muscle rep tear. And then the other one was actually a bench press where I was doing high rep bench press. And 1 rep, my muscle just ripped. So that wasn't a tendon, but even then, muscles, for example, from my anecdotal experience, this is not based on studies, I've had 2 bad injuries on the back of stuff that has a lot more volume than the heavy stuff. So people tend to think that the heavy stuff is the one that's going to create the most injuries. Trust me, in my years of experience of working myself in the gym, sports, but also with clients, I've seen more injuries when it comes to volume stuff than I have when it comes to heavy stuff, such as weight training with heavy loads. So the studies prove that in terms of the tendon stiffness, but also my anecdotal experience proves that too. I've had a nagging injury for a while on my right shoulder. Totally out of the gym, just pain in my front. I've been to see countless physios. I've had actually MRI, a scan on it. There's nothing wrong with the shoulder itself. It's a rotator cuff muscle situation. And years and years ago, I came across a concept called KIN stretch, K-I-N stretch. Fantastic stuff. And talking about tendon stiffness today brings me back to that. And actually, in the last 2 weeks, I've gone back to that, especially since I've been doing some research on this topic. And a lot of their stuff is all to do with actual isometric holds in the end ranges. And since I've been doing it, I'm getting better and better and better every single day. And it's only been 2 weeks. The concept of that is to hold the stretch for 2 minutes, going into isometric holds in the end range of, for example, my shoulder internal rotation and external rotation. So I basically do a lot of load and isometrically hold it there for a minute, and then the other I'll hold it there for a minute as well. So each end range of internal and external rotation, I'm holding a minute isometric hold. Since I've been doing these isometric holds, the injury is getting better and better and better and better. There's a lot of load going through that. So it just proves that this stuff is correct. If you want to have good stiff tendons, strong tendons, I'd recommend going away from all of this high rep stuff. And I'll give you another example. So with my shoulder, I've been doing loads of band work, high reps, which is what the physio told me to do, and my shoulder wasn't getting better. This has been 8-9 months now, and I've been trying so many different things. And as soon as I started looking into the science behind tendon stiffness, and I came across isometrics, as I said, 2 weeks, and I'm already probably 40% better than I was. And I'm going to do this as long as it takes now to get better in terms of the isometric holds for the shoulder, for the rotator cuff stuff. Powerful, honestly. Go away from this light weights and loads of reps, thinking that's actually better for your joints. It really isn't. It's actually probably worse and will probably cause more injury in the long run. And as I've been saying, guys, honestly, if you really want to have stronger joints, live longer, perform better, having stiff tendons is very, very important. And we know already how to do that. We want to be training with heavy loads, lower reps, and use isometrics if you need to. If you're carrying an injury, as I've already said today, maybe look at body weight isometrics like I've been doing with my rotator cuff stuff. If you've got any knee injuries as an example, you could do squat wall sits. That can be very, very good for isometric holds. Leg extension with light weight, but holding that isometric at the top for a minute or two, and then improving on how much you can do that. It's incredibly good. I would massively recommend you looking into kin stretch as well. So just Google it. I'll put a link below for kin stretch. I'm not affiliate, I'm not a kin stretch coach in any way, shape or form. I use their methods and I find them very, very useful. I recommend you do that too, especially if you're carrying injuries. But even if you're not, just for day-to-day stuff, I really like their stuff. I think it's brilliant, as in mobility. If I was to do any type of mobility work, yoga, stretching, Pilates, I wouldn't do it. I would do just kin stretch. It's incredible stuff. Hopefully, guys, this video has been helpful for you. If you like it, hit subscribe, comment, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.